So now let's use our proportions and look at measurement systems. And the main thing we're going to talk about is dimensional analysis today, but let's just look at one thing here quickly. So if I know something, if I know that for 1 meter there's 3.25 feet, I'm given that right here, and I'm setting that equal to another ratio, and I match up and have meters on top, and there's feet on bottom right away, just be consistent, right? It doesn't matter that you have different units here. Usually you don't want to use different units in a problem, but when they match up and I can set up a proportion, it's just fine, right? Because here I can find out what the feet is, right? I could say it's just X feet right now because I don't know what it is. And here I could just use our cross products, right? So I could take 1 times X. Well, 1 times X is just X, right? And then I could take 3.25 times 15.2 and get 49.4. And remember, what do we do to our cross products? What do we put in between them? Yeah, we can set them equal, remember? Because 1/2 equals 3/6. If I take cross products, they are equal to each other, right? So that just proved it right there that I can set them equal. So X would equal 49.4. So I know that in 15.2 meters, there's 49.4 feet, just like that. And some of you might be able to tell, oh yeah, if 1 meter is 3.25 feet and I want 15.2 meters, then I can just multiply 15.2 times 3.25. Sometimes you can see it, but setting up a proportion is also helpful. Okay, and that'll make sense here in just a bit when we look at our dimensional analysis. All right, so for example, it says for dimensional analysis, products, so that means multiply, right? Answer when you multiply, of several conversion factors. So conversion factors are, for example, like right here. There is 2.54 centimeters in 1 inch. Okay, so I'm going to do it the long way here. Some of you might be able to see, oh yeah, I just do this. Okay, and that's totally fine, but I'm going to look at the long way. So I'm going to write out my 10.26 centimeters. And we want to write everything as a ratio, as a fraction. So right now I'm going to just put that over 1. I don't have it. It doesn't say anything else. So I'm just going to put it over 1 for now. Well, what we want to do is we want to take the product, so multiply, of conversion factors. So here's the conversion factor. 1 inch equals 2.54 centimeters. So I'm going to put a fraction of one of these conversion factors. So we're just going to keep multiplying by fractions of conversion factors. Well, to know, do I put the inch on top and the centimeters on bottom, or vice versa? Well, to figure that out, remember when you multiply fractions, like if I had 2/4 times, 8/9, I can cross cancel, like the 4 and the 8 cross cancel and then become a 1 and a 2. We can cross cancel labels. So we want to go and get rid of centimeters and go to inches, right? So if I want to get rid of this centimeters unit, where should I put centimeters to cross cancel? Yeah, on the bottom. So that means the inches go on top. And then you just put your conversion. So 1 inch equals 2.54 centimeters. So 1 inch and 2.54 centimeters. And now I just have a nice fraction to use. So I take 10.26 times 1, which is 10.26. Oh yeah, our centimeters canceled, right? So all I'm left with is inches, which is good. That's what we wanted. And then on the bottom, 1 times 2.54. So I can just take 10.26 divided by 2.54. And that gives me about 4.039. What would make, and it keeps going, probably make the most sense to round to the nearest hundredth here, nearest hundredth. And that is in inches. So 10.26 centimeters is about 4.04 inches. And some of us could have seen, well, yeah, I could just tell just by my conversion factor right up here that I could just divide by 2.54. But if you can't see that, what you want to do is multiply by conversion factors as you go. And this will make more sense when we look at something that's a little more difficult, like in this last problem here. It says 50 meters per second, and I want to convert to kilometers per hour. So I'm going to go from meters per second to kilometers per hour. Well, now there's a lot of things to do. So I'm going to start off by writing my first ratio out. I got 50 meters. I'm going to actually write out the word meters for now. Over, right, per means division. So over a fraction bar, second. Well, how many seconds is that if it just says per second? Yeah, that would be 1 second. So 50 meters per 1 second. And then what we do is, remember we take the product, so we multiply by conversion factors. Well, you just have to decide. Do you want to convert meters to kilometers first or seconds to hours first? All right, let's go with the distance. Let's go with the meters to kilometers first. Well, how many meters are there in a kilometer? Well, that's something we need to know. If you remember your metric system, there is 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer. So that's my first conversion factor that's going in. And then I decide, well, where does the meters go? Does it go on top and the kilometers on bottom, or vice versa? Well, remember, these meters have to cancel with these meters, so they have to be opposite sides. Remember, because we have to cross cancel them. So meters need to go on bottom and kilometers on top. And then you just put your conversion, 1 kilometer for 1,000 meters. And then I like to cross off as I go. So meters cancel with the meters, and I'm already in kilometers. That's good. All right. So now we're done with the meters to kilometers, so let's go to seconds to hours. Well, if you don't know how many seconds there are in an hour, you could first convert from what? Seconds to minutes. That's totally fine. And how many seconds in a minute? Yeah, 60 in a minute. Well, let's put that conversion factor in here. Okay, does seconds go on top or bottom? Let's see. Here's my seconds over here. So that's on the bottom, so it needs to go on top so it cross cancels. So I'm going to put seconds on top and then minutes on bottom. And then our conversion factor was 60 seconds in 1 minute. So now my label's canceled, right? The seconds are gone. Okay, but I'm only into minutes. I need to get to hours, so I got to multiply by another one. So here's another one. Well, that's my last conversion. I'm in minutes, and I need to get to hours. Well, there's also 60 minutes in 1 hour. And then how do I get rid of these minutes here? I need minutes up top to cross cancel. So 60 minutes in 1 hour. There's my conversion factor. And let's cancel out those minutes. Are we left with what we need? Yeah, I have kilometers left over and I have hours left over. So kilometers per hour. Perfect. And then how do we do this again? Yep. All the tops times each other. These are all fractions, right? So 50 times 1 times 60 times 60. And that would give us 180,000. Good. So that's all my tops times the other. And then I got 1 times 1,000 times 1 times 1. That's nice and easy. That's just 1,000. And I don't even need a calculator for this, right? They end in zeros. I can just cancel my zeros. So 180 over 1. Well, what are those? What is on top? Yeah, kilometers per hour. And I could simplify that even more and say 180 kilometers per hour. Very nice. Okay, so just basically multiply by your conversion factors, right? Remember, cross-cancel all those labels. So sometimes it might take 1 step, sometimes it might take 3 steps. You just got to work through it and then multiply it just like it is a fraction.